Are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
Perfect. Can you just say and spell your name for me?
Yes, it is Sarah Knoll, SarahNoll.
Perfect. And what's your official title?
My official title is the Sports Wellness Coordinator.
Cool. And just so you know, I'm using my iPad. It's kind of an older iPad, so hopefully it doesn't disconnect or anything. So if it
Okay.
does, I'll text you.
Okay.
um, so first of all, how challenging has this whole COVID-19 thing been for just the mental health of student athletes?
Um, I think it's been um, more challenging trying to figure out how to meet the needs of the student athletes. We're not getting a great influx of students who haven't already been in treatment. So, in that respect, it doesn't seem to be hugely different. It's more of just making sure we have the capacity and the ability to help the students who are receiving treatment.
And I was reading just the article about everything, and why is it so important to stay in contact with them during this time?
Well, I think, the important piece, it's probably several reasons, but really because if you are prone to depression or anxiety, staying at home can really trigger that if you're not intentionally staying connected to people and doing the things that you need to do to be successful, whether that's maintaining your routine of schoolwork, exercise, nutrition, um, and mental health is a big component of that, and just staying connected and helping folks work that out and what that would look like for them, kind of what their new normal is.
And how grateful are you, though, in 2020 that you do have the technology and the resources to still be able to reach out to kids?
Very grateful. Very grateful. I think this has been huge. I mean, we definitely have had our ups and downs and glitches with internet connections and different things like that. And of course, we have some barriers with interstate jurisdiction right now. But to be able to look at somebody instead of just talking on the phone and have that ability has been really good.
Yeah, you just spoke. I was reading the article too about the state restrictions. How difficult has that been, especially for a school that attracts student athletes from all over the country?
And world.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, that has been very, very difficult for us. I'm licensed in the state of South Carolina, and therefore, legally, in any normal time, would only be able to provide services to student athletes or any person who is physically present in the state of South Carolina. Um, Without interstate jurisdiction, and some states are lifting that and loosening those restrictions a little bit, but each state is individual and there's no federal mandate to allow interstate jurisdiction. Um, so it really just depends on where the student is physically located as to whether or not I can provide services.
And for student athletes too, during this time, we've seen, especially with basketball, they were getting ready for the tournament, this goal they've been working towards. How difficult has it been for these student athletes during this time to have a lot of their dreams taken away when something they can't really control?
Yeah. I mean that's really tough. Any loss like that is a grieving process. I mean, we've talked about grief. I've talked about grief a lot in my sessions with folks, and just in talking with the community. I mean, I think that it's a grieving process for the community. There's such a fan base for women's basketball in particular, right? That um, they feel a loss in not being able to see the end of the season the way that we all know that it would have gone. Um, that's been difficult for a lot of people, and it's not just women's basketball. I mean, other sports were in their championship seasons: track and field, swim and dive. And we had a significant number of folks going to NCAA's with those sports as well, and then the spring sports getting underway. Um, that was a pretty big loss for those folks as well.
I was reading an article with Dawn Staley, and she was saying one of her advice for her players was let yourself feel the disappointment. Don't try and mask it by being, try to be tough or whatever. How important is it for these student athletes to feel that loss and really let their emotions out so that they can move on from it?
Yeah, I think that's a big part in being able to accept reality. Um, it's okay to feel sad. It's okay to feel angry. It's okay to feel however you're feeling, and giving yourself space to be able to feel that way and not judge how you're feeling. Um, a lot of times we do that. We have, our secondary emotions oftentimes make the primary emotions worse. We get angry at ourselves for feeling anxious or being sad. Um, and that causes a snowball effect. But if we just allow ourselves without judgment to feel what we are feeling, then we can move on and we can get past um, what has happened and accept our reality.
I know just I've been a sports reporter here for about 4 years now, and I feel like I've noticed a difference in how comfortable these student athletes are talking about mental health in a public setting. It's probably been going on for a long time, but they are actually okay now and comfortable talking to the press, talking to fans about it. Have you seen a big change in the last few years about the the publicity that mental health has gotten, like in the comfort in student athletes talking about it?
Well, I can only speak. I've only been working with student athletes for the last 2 years. And in that time, I have seen not just student athletes talking about it, but our own numbers have grown significantly just with availability and access. And I think that that is also shown nationally because of the number of clinical sports psychologists that are being hired by universities, and the emphasis that the NCAA is putting on mental health. And it's just becoming, there's still stigma attached with it, but it's really becoming more normalized to not just um, be at your best physically in your sport, but also mentally.
Awesome. Is there anything else you'd like to touch on that we didn't touch on?
Um, I don't think so.
Cool. Well, I appreciate you talking to me. I love this
Yeah.
topic. I think it's so interesting and such a great thing to get out there. So I
Yeah.
appreciate
Well,
you taking
thank you.
time. Yeah. Stay safe, stay healthy,
Yeah.
and
Same to you.
just thank